Hey, listener, name ever wished your business could practically run itself? Like you could step back and things wouldn't fall apart.
Right.
That's exactly what we're diving into today with The Replaceable Founder by Ariel Meisel.
It's a fantastic read. It really is for any entrepreneur who's just tired of feeling like they're the only one keeping all the plates spinning, you know?
You're right. And it's not about abandoning ship or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's about building a business so well structured, it feels less like a juggling act
Mm.
and more like a well-oiled machine.
Yes,
And one of the biggest takeaways for me was just how crucial delegation is to achieving that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Meisel, he really stresses that effective delegation is about way more than just handing off tasks. It's about giving your team the power to actually make decisions and really take ownership.
Yeah.
He has this framework called the 6 Levels of Delegation, which I found incredibly helpful.
Yeah, that really stood out to me too, because it's so practical.
Yeah.
It gives you an actual system for figuring out how much autonomy to give for different types of tasks.
Ex-
Like from a simple order this book
Yes.
all the way up to find us a new office space,
Yeah.
budget's wide open, you handle it.
Exactly. And you know what I thought was really interesting is he talks about how sometimes the best way to empower your team isn't by like directly delegating a task,
Yeah.
but by actually removing obstacles that are getting in their way.
Okay.
He gave this example of a CEO who helped his HR manager by setting her up with a home office
Okay.
because her long commute was impacting her work and everyone else's work as well.
That's such a great example because it's not about micromanaging tasks, right?
Sure.
It's about understanding that bigger picture and then trusting your team to kind of figure out the best solutions.
Exactly.
But okay, let's say we've got delegation down.
Okay.
How do we even begin to tackle that mountain of tasks that most founders face? Organization has never been my strong suit.
Well, Meisel's all about structure and clarity. He breaks down managing a project into smaller steps, like manageable steps.
Okay.
First, you dissect these big, overwhelming projects into smaller, more manageable tasks.
Okay.
Almost like you create this roadmap for your team.
Okay, break it down into bite-sized pieces.
Exactly.
But then how do you make sure everyone on the team is on the same page?
Yeah.
Like who's handling what?
That's where assigning clear roles and responsibilities comes in. And one tool that Meisel suggests is the RCI matrix.
The what now?
RCI. It stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consulted, Informed.
Okay.
It's basically a system for mapping out who plays what role in a project so there's no confusion about who's doing what.
So no more. But I thought they were on that.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to beating a strong team in the first place.
Yep.
What insights from the book really resonated with you in that area?
So Meisel, he talks about looking beyond just the skills on a resume.
Okay.
Obviously, technical expertise is important,
Sure.
but it's equally important to consider a candidate's personality
Mm-hmm.
and their problem-solving abilities.
So it's not just about whether they can do the job, but how they'll handle those inevitable curveballs.
Exactly. He gives this great example of hiring a writer.
Yeah.
Instead of just looking at polished writing samples, give them a poorly written piece
Okay.
and see how they approach revising it.
Interesting.
Because their ability to problem solve in real time
Yeah.
is way more telling.
That's such a smart approach because it's one thing to follow a brief,
Yeah.
but it's another thing entirely to take something messy and make it shine.
Right.
Okay, so we're delegating, we're building this great team, but even then, founders face this constant pressure,
Yeah.
this feeling of being pulled in a million different directions.
100%.
How does the replaceable founder suggest we navigate that?
So that feeling of constantly being on, Meisel tackles this head on.
Okay.
And his advice is to identify your peak time. That window of time when your focus and productivity are at their highest, and you protect that time.
So if, let's say, my brain is firing on all cylinders from 10 to noon,
Yeah.
that's when I tackle my most demanding tasks and just minimize distractions as much as possible.
Exactly. He even has an app for that called Less Doing Peak Time.
Oh, wow.
It analyzes your phone usage to pinpoint your most productive hours.
There's an app for everything these days.
I know, right?
But what about the rest of the day when we're battling that other productivity killer?
What's that?
Email. Any tips on how to escape that never-ending inbox vortex?
Meisel is a big proponent of using filters and the do, delete, defer method to regain control of your inbox.
Okay, break that down for me. I'm just tuning in.
Okay.
What do those look like in action?
Okay, so filters are your new best friend for pre-sorting your inbox.
Okay.
Imagine if you could automatically route all those newsletters and promotional emails to a separate folder.
Okay.
So you can immediately see what actually needs your attention.
Right. And then do, delete, defer. That sounds intriguing, but like a little intimidating. How do I actually make those decisions quickly and stick to them?
So it's all about training yourself to take action right away.
Okay.
Instead of just letting emails pile up.
Right.
Do is for anything you can handle in under 5 minutes.
Okay.
So approve that design, answer a quick question.
Gotcha.
Delete is your new mantra for anything that doesn't require an action from you.
Okay.
Those thanks, emails, notifications you can live without.
Okay.
Defer is for the bigger stuff, the stuff that needs more time or input from other people.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes me think about all the ideas we encounter as founders, not just from emails, but just, everywhere.
Right. Everywhere.
How do we capture those aha moments before they vanish?
Meisel actually talks about building an external brain,
Okay.
a system for storing all those insights so you don't have to rely on your own memory.
System makes it sound so formal, though.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice? Is it high tech, or can it be as simple as like a notepad?
It's totally personal.
Okay.
I mean, Meisel uses emails to log ideas from meetings.
Okay.
Other people swear by voice memos,
Yeah.
or they have a dedicated notebook.
Yeah.
He even mentions using apps like IFTTT, if this, then that.
Okay.
But the key is finding what works for you.
Right.
Something that lets you just capture that spark of inspiration really quickly.
I've heard of IFTTT, but I haven't really explored it.
Okay.
How could it work for idea capture?
It's all about automation.
Okay.
Imagine you jot down a thought in your phone,
Okay.
and IFTTT will automatically send it to like a dedicated folder in your email.
Wow.
So it creates this chronological log of your ideas without you having to do anything.
That is slick.
Yeah.
I can see how powerful that could be.
Yeah. So we're managing our time.
Yes.
We're delegating effectively.
Right.
We're capturing those brilliant ideas.
Capturing those ideas.
What about actually getting things done?
Yes.
Especially when it comes to like content creation.
Right.
Because as they say, content is king.
Content is king, 100%. Meisel, what does he say about this?
So Meisel gets really tactical here.
Okay.
He encourages us to be really honest about our strengths and weaknesses
Okay.
when it comes to content creation.
Yeah.
Like if writing isn't your forte, just don't force it.
Ouch. Yeah, that hits close to home.
Yeah.
I've definitely spent way too long agonizing over blog posts that I should have delegated.
You and me both.
So what did he do?
So he actually admits to struggling with consistent podcast production himself.
Really?
He was spending way too much time on the editing and the production,
Okay.
which was limiting how much he could actually create.
So did he just give up on the podcast?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He realized that while he was great at the content itself, the ideas, the recording,
Mm-hmm.
the technical aspects were a drag.
Okay.
So he outsourced the editing and production,
Smart.
freeing himself up to focus on his strengths.
Such a smart move.
Yeah.
It's all about playing to your strengths, right?
Yes, and building a system that supports that.
But even with amazing content, you need to attract customers.
Of course.
What does Meisel suggest for that?
He uses this term lead magnets.
Okay.
Essentially, you offer something valuable to your potential customers for free.
Okay.
Something that gives them a taste of what you offer.
Gotcha.
Makes them hungry for more.
So like a free chapter of a book or a trial period for software.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the key here is to align those lead magnets with what your target audience actually wants.
Right. No point offering a crash course in knitting if your audience is all about woodworking.
Exactly.
It seems like so much of this comes back to really understanding your customer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And that actually ties into what Meisel says about analyzing your points of contact.
Okay. You're going to have to explain that one to me like I'm 5.
Okay.
What are points of contact?
So imagine every single interaction a customer has with your business.
Okay.
Your website, your social media, emails, even just the way your phone is answered.
Okay.
Those are all points of contact.
Okay.
And they all shape a customer's experience.
So it's like a first impression, but multiplied across every stage of their journey with your business?
Precisely.
Okay.
And what Meisel encourages us to do is to analyze each of those touch points,
Okay.
looking for ways to improve, to add value,
Yeah.
to turn like a casual visitor into a loyal customer.
Because as they say, the details aren't the details, they make the details, right?
100%.
It can't just be this general sense of like, have good customer service.
Right.
We need to be way more specific.
Yes.
So,
He actually breaks down the customer journey
Mm.
into 3 phases.
yeah.
before, during, and after.
Okay.
So it's not just about how you interact with a customer before they buy anything.
You're right.
It's about how you ensure they have a great experience during their, interaction with your product,
Yeah.
and then how you nurture that relationship afterward.
That after phase is so often overlooked.
It's so important.
Yet it's so key to like building those lasting relationships. I
Right.
love that he emphasized that.
It's often what turns a one-time buyer into a lifelong fan.
Exactly.
And all of this, the content creation, the customer journey, the lead magnets,
Yeah.
it all comes back to delegation.
Right.
You, as the founder, you can't do it all alone.
Which brings us back to that core idea of being a replaceable founder.
Exactly.
But is there ever a time when slowing down
Yeah,
or even saying no is the right move?
it can be, but that's where this gets really interesting.
Okay.
Meisel actually has this whole section on the power of no.
Okay.
He introduced us to this guy, Justin Kavanaugh.
Okay.
He's a top athletic trainer,
Wow.
works with these elite athletes.
Okay. I am all ears.
And even in that world, right, where it's so fast-paced, high pressure,
Right.
Kavanaugh realized how important it was to set boundaries.
What made him kind of pump the brakes?
So for him, it was becoming a father.
Okay.
He realized that in order to really be there for his family,
Yeah.
something had to give.
Yeah.
So he started saying no to opportunities, even really good ones.
Yeah.
That would take him away from his family.
That takes guts,
Yeah.
especially when you're at the top of your game.
It's so easy to get caught up in chasing the next best thing.
Totally.
But Kavanaugh's story, I think it's like a good reminder that sometimes slowing down, even stepping back a little bit, is actually crucial for long-term success,
Totally.
both personally and professionally.
I like that.
And it actually ties into something that Meisel talks about a lot in the book.
Okay.
The importance of like returning to your core strengths.
So instead of just constantly chasing new opportunities
Yeah.
or trying to be everything to everyone,
Exactly.
we also need to be like making time to strengthen the skills that are most important to our work, the
Yes.
things that got us here in the first place.
100%. Think of it like an athlete.
Okay.
Like even Olympians spend time practicing the fundamentals,
Right.
honing those core movements that like underpin everything else.
Yeah.
It's not always glamorous,
No.
but it's what allows them to stay at the top of their game.
So true.
And as founders, we have to do the same thing.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
This has been such an insightful deep dive
Yeah.
into the replaceable founder.
A lot to think about.
We covered so much from like the nitty-gritty of delegation
Yeah.
and time management to these bigger ideas, right?
Yeah.
About building a self-sufficient business.
Right.
And like prioritizing our own well-being.
Exactly.
It really is about finding that balance, isn't it?
It is.
That sweet spot between like, passion
Yeah.
and intention,
Mhm.
between driving towards success,
Yeah.
but also like creating space for ourselves
Yeah.
to think and recharge
Absolutely.
and build a business that can like thrive even when we're not, personally putting out every single fire.
Could not have said it better myself.
So listener name, as you're reflecting on all these insights from the replaceable founder,
Yep.
we want to leave you with one final provocative question
Okay.
to ponder.
I like it.
What's that one task
Okay.
that you are most eager to delegate in your own life or work?
Mm-hmm.
The one that's been hanging over your head,
Yes.
What's stopping you from taking action today?
It's a good question.
Until next time, happy delegating.